Evening, calling to order the Papillion La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for April 10th, 2023. Number one call to order, the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Witt? Here. Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Ms. Holtmeyer?
Here.
Ms. Fisher?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
All present?
Thank you very much. Call to your attention the open meetings law, which is posted to the entrance to the room. With that, we will go to Section 2, Communications. And first up, our student council representatives from Monarchs, Emily Lustgraf and Patrick O'Connor. Welcome.
Welcome.
No problem.
Thank you. I'm Emily Lustgraf from the PLH Student Council.
I'm Patrick O'Connor from the Monarchs.
And our normal reps couldn't be here today due to a soccer, so we're here to fill in for them. And we're going to first start off with the ACT and the pre-ACT test. Okay. The sophomores and juniors test last Tuesday. Approximately 950 students tested this day. In preparation for the test, we ran a block schedule and did practice tests with our core teachers. Weeks prior due to the test, teachers also gave us sample questions in our classes, and we hope to get results in a few weeks. We also ran a unified basketball game. This game was held at Papio South, and the highlights from this event were that the Unified Titan cheerleaders who led our student section in the Titan cheer. Our students even cheered blue and black to support these cheerleaders. The Titans also created an inclusion chain that spanned the entire gym. NHS teamed up with the student council to help make blankets for its project, Linus. These blankets are going to children in the hospitals. We've roughly made around 50 to 60 blankets. Prom was also held on March 25th. The weather was great and close to 700 juniors and seniors attended. Our king was Vito and our queen was Sahara Pandit.
On Wednesday, March 29th, PLHS hosted the Nebraska Supreme Court, allowing students an opportunity to see a case being argued. Students were given time for questions of the justices and got lots of information about the case and even future careers. Michael Heavican, the Chief Justice of the Nebraska Supreme Court, had taught English at PLHS from 1969 to 1971 and was excited to visit and get a tour after the case. We had over 70 students produce the musical Big Fish. James Rosser and Sahara Pandit were leading roles. Both schools played last Saturday at Warner Park. We lost by 1 run in the last inning to the Titans. This was a good community event for Sarpy County. We have 22 days left for seniors. Their last day is May 11th, and graduation will be Sunday, May 14th. We have roughly 31 days left for the rest of the students. Thank you. Any questions?
Now the seniors are counting days. How many hours is that?
Thank you for having us here.
Really good report.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, especially for being stand-ins. We know this isn't easy. We would love to have you stay, but if it doesn't work, we know it's a beautiful evening. So
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Go
Thank
enjoy.
you.
Go enjoy your evening. Thanks,
Enjoy the
guys.
weather.
You too. Thank you.
All right, next under communications, item B, public comment for items not on the agenda. When I call your name, come to the podium, please. Just state your name and address, and then we'll start the clock after that. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Brinko will have that timer going. With that, I will start. Lou, is it Slogger? Sloger, I'm sorry.
Oops. I'm Lou Sloger. I live at 1003 Crest Road here in Papillion. I also pastor Grace Baptist Church here in Papillion. And I'm here because I have a number of children in our church that are in your system. We have a preschool at our church, and so I see a lot of little kids every week. And there's just a growing concern with the things that I hear about library books and other considerations that I don't know about because I'm not that involved. But the more I hear, the more concerned I get. So I don't really know any of you. You don't know me. But I do know this. We live in a society where personal responsibility and individual accountability is almost a lost art. So what I'd like to do is to read a verse of Scripture and then pray for you that you'll accept your personal responsibility and accountability before God. We all said the Pledge of Allegiance, and we talked about one nation under God. Is that correct? Oh, you guys can't answer me, I know. But let me read from Luke chapter 17 and 2 Corinthians 5. And I read this once again with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in my mind, and probably you have older kids in your mind. But Jesus said this, "It is inevitable that stumbling blocks should come, but woe to him through whom they come. It would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he thrown into the sea than that he should cause one of these little ones to stumble." And then in 2 Corinthians 5, it says this, "We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may be recompensed for his deeds in the body, according to what he has done, whether good or bad." And it seems to me, with at least some of the books that have ended up in our library, we'd have to say that's kind of bad. And somebody should accept responsibility and do a better job of policing the books that end up in our library. How much time do I have left? 4 seconds? Oh, 40 seconds. All right. Well, then I have time to pray. Father, I want to thank you for these people who serve this community. I just pray you'd give them wisdom and grace to do so in such a way that they would never cause any of our children to stumble. And that we would recognize that there is a day when each and every one of us will give an account to you. I pray that they would keep this in mind as they make decisions, as they implement programs, that they do so for the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical health and well-being of our children. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
All right, next up, Lisa Kuchenmeister. Thank you for spelling it out for me. I appreciate that.
Lisa Kuchenmeister, 10231 Cimarron Woods Drive. I hope everyone had a joyous Easter, and I want to thank you all for your time tonight. My first comments are in regards to books, which of course is a hot topic. I would like to challenge anyone who is going to that wants to ban a book in our library to first read the entire book yourself. And if there are still concerns, our district has a policy in place to review these books. So use the policy. I don't think we need to create theatrics by coming to meetings and reading a select passage from a book. I trust our curriculum directors and teachers who have dedicated their careers to ensuring our kids receive a high-quality education and continue to have access to books. banning books is censorship. It is suppressing ideas and information. Our world is rapidly changing and growing, and we can best be prepared and connected with our world when we have new information with varied perspectives. I am strongly opposed to book bans as they are removing my children's rights to have access to a diverse range of stories and perspectives. Those of us that have children in our schools do not see books as a threat to our kids, but I can tell you what we actually worry about and what keeps us up at night. It's the never-ending threat of school violence. We see over and over that school violence does not discriminate. It can happen anywhere and at any age. This is why I would like to thank everyone who put their time and talent in the communication that was sent out with the video highlighting the bond project spotlight on Portal Elementary. We are a Portal Pride family, and this perfectly displayed how the approval of the bond would help protect students by installing a secure entrance, preventing violence from a direct entry into our school. So as a parent, I want to speak in enthusiastic support of our school bond, and I encourage all of our families and community members to vote yes on the ballot. And my last comments are for Brittany. Brittany, you have sat in this very chair probably more than anyone else, and you've said many, many terrible things. The most disgusting thing was falsely accusing our teachers and your fellow board members of sexualizing our kids. I'm very concerned to have you on the board making decisions for my kids. Censoring books, false accusations of sexualization, and refusing to properly inform yourself enough to vote at all on a bond that would support our growing district's needs. I am struggling to see how you are contributing to PLCS greatness. Please do better for my kids, do better for all of our kids. Thank you.
All right, next up, Edward Weniger.
Edward Weniger, 1709 Ridgeview Drive. I believe this had been brought up before, somebody had mentioned it, and I just wanted to reiterate just a request to have a town hall held, some opportunity where there's some dialogue that can happen between the school board and the parents. Certainly, you guys get to hear from us, but having two-way communication on a regular basis rather than just through emails or phone in a public setting would be helpful, I think. And it would have been a good opportunity to refute some of the complaints that were included in the presentation that was going to be held in Florida. It seems like having something like a town hall would have been good to address some of those, or to have an opportunity for everybody to dialogue before that was given or would have been given. And the second thing I want to ask about is with regards to the Series 6000 and trying to figure out how to have a more serious or in-depth review of the Series 6000 when it comes up in a future meeting here shortly. It seems like there are methods in the policies to form subcommittees under the Series 8000, and it seems like that would be a good use of a subcommittee to try to get really deep into 6000 to reform that. So those were the only 2 points I had. Thank you.
And next, Ms. Lorene Renante.
Good evening, Lorene Renante, 1108 Park Drive, Papillion. My comments pertain to the comments not on the agenda from the last board meeting, March 27th, 2023. So I'd like to thank Michael Kuchemeitzer for making comments and lecturing Ms. Holtmeyer. It is very telling and revealing of what your side is doing. Ms. Holtmeyer does not sound any type of alarm to have people come to these meetings. We, the grassroots of Nebraska, and there are several groups, and literally hundreds of them all over the state that are watching. We are here to take our schools back, our state back, and our country back. At any time, we can contact folks from all around the state, even in the most western counties of Nebraska, that it's time to come to a meeting. We are the groups that are speaking at the unicameral. We are in the senator's offices. We are at the city council, school board meetings, etc. Ms. Holtmeyer received the most votes in the past election as a first-time candidate. We that voted her in have a vested interest, and we are paying attention to the school board meetings more than ever. I just wanted to make sure that you were giving the right group credit and not Ms. Holtmeyer. And then secondly, to the Vote Yes campaign individuals, your signs are just a bit misleading. A school board does not support the staff monetarily, although the signs do not specifically state that. It is implied, and it is important that the public understands a school bond is for building and not for salary to staff. Thank you.
All right, moving on to item C, the superintendent's report. Dr. Rickley.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members of the board. Thank you for joining us this evening. And as always, for our audience members who are with us live in person as well as on YouTube, thank you for tuning in and remaining engaged with your Board of Education. First off, hope everybody had a wonderful holiday break, had a chance to enjoy the Easter holiday with loved ones. This is the last major holiday, the last major break of the school year. The end of the school year is fast approaching, as we heard from our students, seniors in particular. The countdown is on for Mother's Day weekend, which of course is when we traditionally have held our commencement activities for both Papillion, La Vista South and Monarch. Hopefully we'll all have an opportunity to attend a whole bunch of the end of the year celebrations. Ms. Baranka will start putting that together for board members, because I know, to quote Ms. Fisher, that is the payoff for being a board member, is seeing the end of the school year draw to a close and celebrating our students' many accomplishments. Also wanted to echo what our students had mentioned about the oral arguments at Papillion La Vista High School last week. It was a proud day for the school district. It was a proud day for Monarch in particular, for two reasons. One, because Supreme Court Justice Michael Hevican, as they pointed out, was a teacher, not a graduate. I think I was incorrect when I stated I thought he might be a Monarch grad. He's not a Monarch grad, but he was a Monarch teacher, 69 to 71. He taught English language arts. And he taught none other than Bob O'Neill, who was a longtime Papillion La Vista board member, still longtime district resident and supporter, and was a juvenile justice judge for I don't know how many years. But Judge O'Neill is a good human being. He is a Monarch grad, and he was there to help kick off the festivities. And if you're even remotely interested in seeing how our judicial system works, it was fascinating to see them process the arguments, and it was really, really fun seeing our students timidly approach the bench and ask them questions and do their very best not to refer to them as you guys. And Ms. Witt and Ms. Madler, who are there, know exactly what I'm talking about. They were lectured by Justice Hevican about, we love you, we're glad you're here, just don't refer to us as you guys. And of course, one student slipped up, but corrected himself immediately, so that was kind of cute. So very, very proud moment for the district. Also wanted to share with the community and with the board, we've got a number of activities coming up this week and in the coming weeks. We do have the final community closet event, April 29th, La Vista Middle School. We're looking for volunteers. We've held a number of these events where families come in and we distribute toiletry, personal care items, and most importantly, clothing items to some of our most vulnerable families. We've had an extremely successful year, so April 29th, La Vista Middle School, I believe it starts at 9 a.m. Special thanks to Dr. Myers for her leadership on that. We also have a number of listening sessions coming up, and I don't want to steal any of Ms. Iman's thunder because she's going to be highlighting that later on in the agenda. We did our first community listening session at Monarch. We had probably just shy of 30 people, so it wasn't an awesome turnout, but we did have a really good conversation and a number of questions after the fact. We have the second one coming up this Thursday at Papillion La Vista South at 6 p.m. So for our audience members here, as well as those watching at home, please mark that on your calendar, 6 p.m. this Thursday at Papillion La Vista South. Prior to that, we have our district Title I event. So we have 5 Title I elementary buildings. They are so designated because they receive additional federal funding in support of some of the challenges unique to Title I buildings. For example, we have our English language learner program housed at our 5 Title buildings. And we do our annual Title I parent event This is something we just do as a matter of practice. In fact, I think it might even be required by law. I'm looking at Ms. Siri. In years past, it started really, really small, and then prior to the pandemic, we were getting 400 or 500 people show up. So this year's Title I event, it's really geared more towards families and parents than it is for staff. That is at 6 o'clock tomorrow at Papillion La Vista High School. Again, board members, we'd love to have you, and community members, we would love to have you. So lots of things going on around the district. Also wanted to close by sharing some comments on that, the book situation at our last board meeting. I owe this board and this community an apology. We had a public commenter that indicated that a book was found in our libraries. What I did is I did a quick search and incorrectly used our follow it search function and mistakenly thought that book was not on our shelf. It is on our shelves, and I shared that information with Mr. Bailey. I was wrong. The book is on our shelf. In fact, it was located on the Monarch shelf. I have that book myself. I want to read the book. To a previous comment, I do think it's important to understand context. Context matters. Context matters when it comes to books and curricular materials. So I'd like to read it for myself. And make some judgments for myself. The other book that we believe was found at Papillion La Vista South was checked out by a teacher over a year ago. It was lost, so it's not on the shelf. Be that as it may, I think this is a good opportunity for us just to remind the community of the protections that we do have so that you can make a choice for yourself. We do have that follow it search function. Don't click on the district search function. Click on the individual building because you will get a message in error saying it's not on our shelves when it is. We're working with Follett, who builds that search engine, to fix that because that can be a little bit confusing. I think the second thing parents need to remember is their phones can be a very powerful tool, particularly if you have the district app where you can monitor what your children are picking out and what is being checked out by your kids. And I think the final tool, besides putting a block on books that you find objectionable, is if you find a book, bring it to our attention. We have a really pretty darn good policy about if there's curricular materials or books that you don't like or think are inappropriate, we run it through a process. That's what we do. We try not to be arbitrary. We try not to be capricious. We try to follow our own rules. So we're wanting to stay on top of this. We know that this is a hot issue for parents, for our community members, and we understand that. I've got my own kids, so I think about it as a parent myself. And with that, Mr. Bailey, I would conclude my superintendent's comments.
Thank you very much. And I also was part of that, and I do owe an apology as well. I know we had the information, and we should have double-checked that before we made those comments. So I apologize as well for that. All right. Next up, board reports.
I guess I can go first. So I did have probably one of our last remaining liaison lunches for the year. Is that correct? Was that the last one? That's sad. Had a liaison lunch. It was rescheduled from a prior snow day. And so Dr. Rickley and I had lunch at Rumsey Station. And Rumsey chose the kind of test pilot that we're doing with our liaison lunches, just having a focused group the entire time versus rotating in folks every 5 or 6 minutes. I've done that 2 or 3 times now. I definitely am in favor of that format. You definitely get an in-depth conversation and definitely have better brainstorming when you have more time with a variety of folks throughout the building. So I love that format. Spent a lot of time talking about really paras, specifically special education paras, and just trying to think of ways, and they love the para training day, but then, and they did admit that there has been more specialized kind of training for paras, especially that are in special education. So they were definitely in favor of continuing to find more specialization. So paras just have a better foundation to serve the ever-growing variety of needs in our special education groups. We talked about school boundaries, and if and when they're just noting that the Rumsey neighborhood, though it doesn't feel like it is as old as it is. That neighborhood's turned over, 2 or 3 times by now, and they're starting to see a little drop in enrollment. So they're just wondering if and when boundaries might be revisited. We said we don't have any current plans, but obviously if the bond passes and we do build another elementary, that's typically, we've got to create boundaries for that, and that's a time we typically as a board then look at all boundaries to see if any others need to be adjusted. Where's the other? Along, again, staff development for kind of all staff, they just wanted us, the board and Dr. Rickley, to think about some of the timing of professional development and just where could we potentially add in a little bit of flexibility, especially for single parents. It can be tough with their schedules to get to the proper trainings and can finish their development. So really great conversation. Dr. Rickley, did I miss anything? We spent quite a bit of time on kind of those major topics. And they, like all schools, we've kind of heard from various board members, just creating different access points, just additional fobs, just to make it easier where they're not spending time, hey, I have to go out this door and we're going all the way around to have to read outside or do something to get access. So simple things that I was going to bring up in buildings and grounds this week. So that's all I had.
I did attend the Supreme Court hearing, as Dr. Rickley said. It was great for the students. It was great. It was great that the justices, they say they do 3 or 4 of those a year, travel around the state and go into a high school. I think Bellevue last year. So I think it was a great opportunity that we were one of the schools selected this year. Great opportunity for the students and for the community that attended. And I know PLV Media did a great job of getting all set up, making sure they had cameras and mics everywhere. I think if anyone wants to go back and watch it, I believe that it is still up on YouTube. And I thought it was a great use of that new space that we have, that flex room. That was perfect place to have the justices up there on one side and then everyone watching on the other side. I also went to the bond informational campaign at the Monarchs. Yeah, we had about 30 people, but when I did pull it up on the Facebook Live on my phone as well. And I think we had 55, 60 people also watching on there and asking some questions. So it was good to have that information, continue the informational campaign and having people want to consume the information that we're putting out. So thanks to Dr. Rickley and the staff that are showing up on all these nights and getting that information out there. I know it is time consuming for you all. I also went to the NSBA conference last weekend, which was the first time I had been to it. And it was great just to meet and hear from other board members across the country. I don't have that much interaction with other board members across the country. I haven't developed a lot of those relationships yet. So it was great to talk to a lot of them and really, hear that, our challenges aren't unique to us. We can get really into what we're doing and forget, there's thousands of other boards that are dealing with the same thing, and maybe they've dealt with something in a way that we can take some information from, or they try to deal with it a certain way, and we can say, oh, maybe that doesn't seem to have worked. So a lot of learnings, went to a lot of great sessions that were relevant to what we're dealing with today, and I look forward to going again. Hopefully next year I can make it work, because there's a lot of great learnings there.
I also went to the bond meeting, and sorry, I sound a little funny. I had mouth surgery today. I went to the bond meeting last week. There were about 30 people. It was a very windy night, informative. But I wanted to bring up the book as well, just because it's dear to my heart. I remember on the 28th of March, I had asked Dr. Rickley, who had signed off on the book and put it in the library, because it's just, in the state of Nebraska and actually throughout the United States, kind of like what Mr. Weinerger was talking about, they are trying to pass bills that can stop these kinds of books to go into school libraries. But we don't have that right now, in which I understand that they are able to be in here. But what I'm having a hard time struggling with this past 2 weeks is the word that was used was pornography. And to me, that's huge because we do have children in our district, you know, that have been sexually abused. There's adults. We've seen grooming instances in our district, and it's not just here, but it's everywhere. So the word pornography is huge, and to openly admit, when I understand that at first you did not believe it was in the library, but it is, and this isn't the only one that is like it in our library with the same context. That right there just puts us in a sticky situation, a big old pickle, because you flat out told the people we have porn in our library, and we're okay with that. But I'm not okay with that as a board member, so I don't know how this goes. I did read the policy that you had sent out for the parents to fill out, but it's kind of tricky, and I do feel like we kind of need to revise it because curriculum, and I don't believe library books are considered curriculum. So we need to revisit that form to fill out. And then while I was searching for, just through the library tab, Policy 6401, school libraries, it does have an instructional materials approval form. So I'm assuming that this is what the teachers fill out, like when they're putting the books into the library. Is that correct? The form, because it says school teacher class title, format is book, audio book, digital web-based resource. Recommend for use in the following subjects, grade level to which this material is appropriate. Is that what teachers like fill out, like when they're putting stuff in there? I'm not sure. Sorry.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
The section of the policy that says the deselection, selection, and maintenance of the library identifies the steps that are used to select materials and the resources that are used.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
Sorry, I forgot the mic.
Okay, so with that, and I know maybe this bothers you guys that I'm bringing this up again, but I mean, we have Nebraska state statutes in 28-813-01, visual depiction, that's words. So when you have this in the library and you willingly, openly know that you have porn in your library now because it's been said it was porn. I'm not talking about book banning. I'm talking about you've admitted that there's porn in here. Maybe it was on an accident because right then and there you didn't think it was in there. So what I'm trying to get is I don't know how to do this and appropriately within the meeting, but I would like to make a motion to make a special subcommittee to go through these books as board members and as administrators to look through the library books that contain the same content, because I had sent Dr. Rickley, it's called booklooks.org, on this book specifically, but throughout many other books that are on there. And it was 18 pages. It's not just coming to finding the worst paragraph in the book. It's full of it. And context matters. It does. And whether it had one sentence regarding this, that one sentence is enough talking about sexual raping. I mean, disgusting. I'm 33 years old and I get grossed out by it. So I would like to make a motion to make a special subcommittee to go over library books with the same content and weed them out and maybe put them in a little special box in the library or behind the desk, like you have to rent movies and stuff of not of age, and put them back there, because I get that a parent can fill this paper out, but this paper doesn't stop their kid from actually, walking down the aisle and just grabbing it off of the shelf just to view it. It stops them from checking it out. So they just need to be put in a special place, because then if their parents allow them to do it, great, they'll be behind the counter. So that's what I'm trying to get at, is I want to do a special subcommittee to do something like this. And I don't know if I did it in the correct way right now. giving
Well,
my
I don't
correct
believe
comment.
we would entertain the motion because it's not on the agenda. We wouldn't be able to vote on anything that is not on the agenda. So if that would get on the agenda, then we would entertain a motion. But people in the community aren't aware that you were trying to make a subcommittee tonight. So we would not be able to, I don't think it would be appropriate to entertain the motion, and I don't think we'd be able to vote on it since it is not on our printed agenda.
So it can be on for the next meeting's agenda, is what you're saying?
We have our curricular subcommittee meeting tomorrow, and we are going to talk about that. I've already discussed it with Dr. Rickley,
He
and so
told
we
me.
will discuss getting a subcommittee together.
But it wasn't pertaining like these wordings that I'm looking for, pornography, basically. That's what I want to make mine, because he informed me of it. He had emailed me, because I missed his call.
Okay, I'm just talking that he and I talking about getting a subcommittee together tomorrow at the curricular subcommittee meeting.
Ms. Holtman, you're bringing it up, and you said the word pornography a number of times, and I think you spoke for the other board members, and I did not say I think pornography in our schools is okay. You indicated that was such, but I don't believe any other board member has said that.
Well, I apologize for that. I should have been more specific. Ms. Witt and Dr. Rickley had stated that, so I apologize.
That they think,
It,
I don't think I've heard anyone state that pornography is okay in our schools with the wording. Now, pornography can be a lot of different things. What I would like to know in your mind, because you said like a sentence out of a book, if it is inappropriate enough, it could be pornography. But what would that be?
Right. So when he was up here reading this book, talking about God knows what it was because it was gross, and we can go back. Actually, we can't go back and watch it. The video's not up. I can send the board of the book looks and have you read through it and just tell me if you're comfortable with allowing any children to read that. Like, I understand that there's subject in there. Did you have something to say?
No, I'm just saying it's not on the agenda. I'm wondering if this conversation should happen.
But I mean, pornography. What he was reading, were you really comfortable listening to him read this book last
But I think
meeting?
there's a difference between forced consumption of the material. He was, the forcing of the consumption of that material versus selecting the material to read it. I think those are two very different things.
I get it, but it's in your school library, and we are the board of this district, and I feel liable if some poor kid is going to go read this book, and their parent finds out, and their parent gets upset, then that comes back on us. And I'm using, I know, like I've said, the obscenity law, we have that right now, the exemption. But they had openly admitted, can you please stop reading this pornography? I don't know if that was verbatim, but it was something similar. And then Dr. Rickley as well stated the same thing with the pornography. What you're calling that a book pornography because you think it's not in your library, but now that it is in the library, I feel like we're kind of trying to switch gears here. And to be honest, I'm not here trying to get a felony for giving kids, enabling them access to having this pornography because that's what it is. And if you're okay with that, and if this is the only time that you've questioned this right now is towards me, then honestly, like, I worked my butt off, but if you are okay with this, I don't want to be associated and sitting on this board when I have a board that is just going to let it slide by. I can't do that.
You have options if you don't want to be on the board.
Well, and
but
I'm sure you'd
I
love
would
it.
say that you could, when you read it, you forced the consumption onto us. That's completely different than just having a book in the library. I'm not going to judge from 2 paragraphs on a 320-page book if that should be in the library or not. I don't know if that book should be in the library, but I'm not an expert in what books should be in the library. I don't think I am. I don't think any board member should be able to pick and choose which books that they find offensive to force onto every other family in this district. Because I don't think you'd be able to find every family in this district agree on many books. So I just think it's careful to say if you hear a little snippet from a book, to then put that wording of pornography on the entire book without reading it. Again, I don't know if it, but that's the only snippet they heard. Yeah, that snippet, if that was the entire book,
Then
that
that's
would be,
enough
that would
of
be
it,
interesting. No, I'm sorry, my time.
She told me to quit and
Yeah,
you were
I'm
saying
not going to, I don't want to force my opinion, my personal opinion onto our students. I rely on the educators to use their knowledge and understanding, and we have the policies in place. Again, if parents find a book in our library that they find objectionable, in their kids' library that they find objectionable, submit it. We've got probably 20,000 books in the library. If you say you average, I don't know, 100 pages a book, that's what, 2 million pages that I don't think is realistic that our staff will have read. The book that was called out, 320 pages, it was a New York Times bestseller, Amazon best book of the year. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, I don't think it is crazy that that book was in a high school library for the accolades it got on its own. But I don't know if anyone read the full book.
Excuse me, please
So,
stop. Please, I'll clear the room. Stop. Stop,
Yeah.
ma'am. I've asked you to stop twice.
so that's
Knock
just,
it off.
I think you're putting the comments of pornography, and you made the comment that we're okay with it. No one is okay with pornography in the libraries. We have books in our libraries that you might not approve, but we have policies in place that we need to follow, and not just take every time someone finds something offensive, they come and read a snippet from the book in the board meeting and want us to take immediate action. We have policies in place, let's follow it.
Great, and like I said, I'm not trying to pull this out of the library. I'm trying to have you put it behind a counter so that way if kids are able to go in and check it out. My parents are giving me access to view books that contain these keywords. Okay, great, here, walk around and you can view them and then check it out. Now, I'm using pornography because that's what was stated when he was reading. I don't know what sentence he was on, but enough for Miss Witt to interrupt him and say, can you please stop with the pornography? Like, just stop right there and just think about, like, what you're saying. And it's not the worst paragraph in the book. As you know, I've been looking at books for probably the past year and a half, and this book looks, go read it. I will send it to you tonight. It's not just this paragraph. It's throughout the whole entire the book, from like 1 to the very end of it. It is like 18 pages long. And like I said, if you're comfortable with these paragraphs in there, then I don't know what to tell you because that's gross.
I have, my turn. I have 3 points. The first one is, Ms. Holtmeyer, you said we've seen grooming instances in the district. I don't know where you get that information, but it's offensive to me because as a member of the board, I can tell you that you have made conjectures and opinions and put them on the board as if it's something we've said or done. And I would rather you limit your comments to your own conduct and activities and not make statements like that that are general about information you think everybody has. We don't. Second point, at every school board meeting except I think the last one, we have been reminded that you got the most votes at the last election. Let's all stipulate that Ms. Holtmeyer got the most votes. During my election, my first year, I got 11,000, 2,000 more than you. Ms. Fisher got 20,000 at her last election. So I would like to not need a reminder that you got the most votes. We all know that. But when we sit at this board, after we were sworn in, we all have 1 vote, and we are all equal at this point. And now about the book reading. You're right. It wasn't a choice that we got. It was forced down our throats, and I did use the word pornography, and for that I apologize because I think that is in the eye of the beholder. I thought the rendering was read in a pornographic manner. And while it's appropriate to bring issues forward that are a concern to the district and community, it should be done without theatrics or making a mockery of our board or of our district policies. And therefore, I stand by my decision to disrupt the rendering from the public commenter who read the passage out of context and in an obvious attempt to provoke listeners. I felt it was my obligation to stop the auditory assault that was obviously making many in the room uncomfortable. More importantly, and an even bigger issue for me, is that the same speaker knew the material would be offensive and went around the room and asked some members of the audience to leave because he knew it would be sensationalizing sexually explicit passages from the book. Had I known that this was happening, I would have stopped it as well. For the record, anyone who wishes to attend one of our school board meetings is welcome to do so, and the only authority to ask a visitor to leave us with district personnel and the board president and not a visitor. I'm asking the superintendent to request that if staff observes this in the future, to stop it and bring it to the board's attention immediately. And as a reminder, finally, this body and the public at large, PLCS school board meetings are meetings held in public. They are not public meetings. The board convenes to discuss the business before it, render its decisions as a body, and except for the opportunity to provide comments during the specified sections of the agenda, the public who choose to attend witness the process. They are not active participants. Proper decorum will be expected from everyone at all times.
Ms. Witt, that's probably a good segue. I don't mean to cut short a lively debate, and that is what boards are meant to do, is be a deliberative body. That said, to have a substantive conversation about something that's near and dear to many people's hearts without it being on the agenda is probably, to go any further, is probably a violation of open meetings law, and that's not fair to our community. That's not fair to the people that might want to be here and listen to it firsthand, and it's not on the agenda. I would suggest to our president, to the board, as a way forward, if the board decides to put it on a board agenda, the board owns the agenda, not me, not administrator of the board. That would be one suggestion. Suggestion two, Mr. Bailey brought up the point, and I think this is important, Ms. Holtmeyer, I wanted to talk through this with you when I called earlier today, that I do think a subcommittee conversation with curriculum instruction and assessment would be in order, and I believe Ms. Siri has that scheduled with our board subcommittee. And then in the interim, while we are waiting for the whatever outcome may come of that, we do have very good processes that provide protections for parents that want it, and for parents that look at books like these and don't have an issue with it. It's okay for them too. Our policy says it, in my opinion, quite well. Parents have the right to limit, should have the right to limit those materials in front of their children. They should not have the right to limit those materials for other parents' children. That right rests with them. So given that, that would be my recommendation to the board, Mr. Bailey, but certainly that is the board's decision to make.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Any other board reports before we move on? All right. Then we will continue with committee reports. Buildings, Grounds, and Finance.
We have not had a meeting since the last meeting. We do have a meeting scheduled for this Friday morning.
Thank you. Human Resources and Student Services.
We have not met since last time.
Thank you. Curriculum and Americanism.
We haven't met since last time. We do have a meeting scheduled for this week. One of the things that I just like to say as a board member is that every board member knows who serves on these committees, so don't forget that you can come to us and say, you know, when is your next meeting? Is there something, could you have this as an item for discussion? Because that does open up the door for us to do that in an appropriate manner. So please understand that we all can do that. I know I've done that before because I don't attend Buildings and Grounds. So it's nice when I can say to another board member who does, I'd really like to have an answer to this if you can get it for me. So that's another avenue as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Number 3, action items. Letter A, action by consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the action by consent as presented.
Second.
All right, a motion by Ms. Fisher and a second by Mr. Madler. Any comments? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
Ms. Holtmeyer? Yes.
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 Thank you. Item B, the board meeting minutes of March 27th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes of March 27, 2023.
Second.
All right, I had a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Mr. Lotus. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 All right, item C, the 2023 student one-to-one technology purchase.
Welcome, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
Good evening, thank you. In front of you this evening is an action item for consideration of the board as a result of a process we ran, a RFP for student devices for our one-to-one program at the secondary level. We talked about this as a discussion item about a month ago, and this will continue to be an annual process that we conduct to make sure we can maintain and cycle out in a responsible manner our fleet of devices for our 7th through 12th grade students. Our team ran an RFP process, received 10 responses, which was really good, a good amount of interest in this project and in this really acquisition of hardware from vendors. Did a full evaluation of what was submitted to us and have a recommendation in front of you to go with the vendor and items listed in the board packet. The hope is, or the goal here is, that we would place this order, receive the equipment over the summer to be able to prepare it for deployment to students this fall. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Lucas, have we used this vendor before for such a large
Great
purchase?
question. We have. We've used actually about, I was just counting that up because I was curious myself, I think 4 of the 10 vendors on the list we have used. So again, very happy and satisfied that we got a good response. This is one that we've used. I'm trying to remember the year. The last RFP they won, I believe, was 2016, if I'm remembering correctly. We've purchased smaller items from them in between then that don't necessarily require going out for bid, but we have checked in references. They do a lot of work with other local districts. They're fairly local in terms of the region as well. Their headquarters are right up by Sioux City area, and they have been good work with in the past and had good references. So I have no concerns with proceeding with their services.
No, I think it's fantastic that we're starting to see an uptick in bidders to make more competitive bids. I mean, they know they have to sharpen their pencils and if they want business, and it's hopefully speaking to that industry supply chain getting a little bit back to pre-pandemic levels. So that's great to see. You mentioned it, so we're hopeful to get these over the summer to be ready for next year.
Yep, and we've had conversations with them. They don't believe that'll be an issue. In fact, they're thinking maybe even 2 to 3 weeks we'd have them. And we're actually seeing really better lead times on a lot of things right now than we were. There's some things that are still hit or miss. But even as part of this process, we require every vendor to send us a demo unit. And as you can see there, we got a couple of them were late just for various reasons, but really had no major issues receiving those units. And I do, if I can, want to take an opportunity to thank my team. This is a huge undertaking process that a lot of people in my office are involved with, from writing this, getting it out there, and then going through and actually, we evaluate what we receive and try to make sure we take pride in making sure we're making the best decision for the district and our students. So again, just want to take an opportunity, if I can, to brag on my team a little bit and give them a shout out as well.
No, appreciate you and your team's thoroughness to make sure that we have the right devices for the right for our students.
Thanks.
Because technology is such a big part of today's learning environment, so much appreciated. With that, I'll make a motion to approve entering into a purchase agreement with Sterling Computers Corporation as presented for a total cost of $613,020.
Second.
All right, a motion by Mr. Lotus and a second by Mr. Madler. One thing I wanted, real quick before you go, I just wanted to bring up, remind everyone, I know it's written down in here, how exactly we are funding this through the school district, just to make sure the public.
Great question.
Remember.
So back in 2019-20, I might have the year, it might be a year off there, but the district put together the depreciation fund, which was a long-term decision to help make sure we could support and sustain this program. It was 2020, I think, as a pandemic year. And so what happens is we take both, and Mr. Richards, jump in here if I'm missing any pieces of this, but we take both value from residual devices, so the devices that we cycle out that still have value, and then at the end of the year, we also account for and budget putting money into that depreciation fund each year to continue to keep it built up at a level that we can support this. So the funding for this will come from that depreciation fund. Did I miss anything? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments? All right, then roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Ms. Holtmeyer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas.
Great job, Lucas. Thank you.
All right, the next item, item D, administration salary 2023 and 24. Dr. Settles?
Yep, thank you. So we have not had any changes on this since you last heard this at the last meeting. So just to give you a quick recap, we began the year with approval of the teacher total package, which was 3.59%, then moved on to administrator salaries. This would propose a base increase of $700, bringing the base to $71,900. That's an average total package increase of 3.19%, allowing both vertical and horizontal movement on the administrator salary schedule. The assistant superintendent recommended package is 2.99%. This does factor in the EHA increases of an average of 6.87% in this proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve the administrative salary and benefits as presented for the 2023-2024, including a certified administrator base salary of $71,900 and a minimum salary increase of 3.19% for certified administrators, and the 2.99 increase for the assistant superintendents.
Second.
All right, I had a motion by Ms. Witt and a second by Ms. Fisher. Any board comments? Okay, roll call, please. Yes.
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 All right, thank you very much. Item E is the superintendent contracts 2023 and 2024. I think this also Dr. Settles.
Yep, this one as well. We have not had any changes since you last saw this proposed. So to give you the summary of this one, this contract includes a salary increase of 2.29%. Dr. Rickley's salary for 23-24 would be proposed at $257,091.54. All other provisions would remain the same. With that figuring in is increases in retirement, FICA, Medicare, and insurance rates all calculated in. That's a total package increase of 2.648% for 23-24. That current contract was updated in December, which covers the 23-24 school year through 25-26 contract years. Just a reminder that a copy of the superintendent's 3-year contract is available for patron review on the district website in accordance with Nebraska Superintendent Contract Transparency Act.
So I will be supporting this. I think I shared my comments at the last meeting. I think that a superintendent's job is a tough job. I believe that we have a superintendent who does a very good job trying to juggle all the things that come along with that, along with understanding that sometimes we make decisions that aren't always pleasing to all members of the public. And as board members and administrators, we may make errors or mistakes along the way. I would like to challenge anybody who isn't able to forgive for that, because I think we all can admit that that occurs for all of us. But I am a supporter. I think our Dr. Rickley is doing an outstanding job overall for this district, making sure that our students' education is moving forward, making sure we have good staff, and making sure our staff is taken care of. So I will be supporting this evening.
I'll make the motion to approve the 3-year superintendent's contract with Dr. Andrew Rickley at a salary of $257,091.54 for 2023-2024.
Second.
By Mr. Madler, and I heard Ms. Fisher's second. Any other comments from the board?
One other comment. I can't remember if we talked about it last year. Where would this put him in the state?
We did not look at the entire state comparing, but we did look at 16 of the largest school districts in Nebraska. We are the 4th largest district. It would put him 7th by salary and 12th by total package.
Thanks.
And that is based on, remember when we compare that, we have to look at this current year, because there's not a lot of those 16 are not yet settled for next year.
Any other comments? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. All right, moving on to Section 4, discussion and information items. Item A, Board Informational Campaign. I think that's Ms. Iman.
Well, we haven't talked bond issue for a couple meetings, so here we go. Same goal as last time I shared this information. Our goal is to win this election, win by at least 60% by providing factual information to all of our targeted audiences. Our objectives remain the same. Utilize research to drive the overall communication efforts. We're continually looking at the research, the analytics, those different things, and adjusting our communication plan as we go accordingly. Create an increase in awareness about the bond proposal, inform the community of the key points, and then build the knowledge of our employees so that they understand the proposal and can answer questions that are commonly asked. Our key messages stay the same: improving safety and security for all schools, updating the older facilities, bringing them to the current standard of greatness, serving the projected growth in student enrollment, and then our last one is to encourage people and remind people and teach people that they need to return their ballot to the election office by May 9th at 5 o'clock p.m. Key strategies are to have multiple touches with all of the audiences, an opportunity for face-to-face communication, utilize a variety of communication avenues, including direct mail, social media, website, face-to-face, and then, of course, to create that awareness and communicate key factors to all. So what have we done? Starting on February 27th, we've sent weekly emails to staff and parents about the bond issue. The focus of those, we've had different topics, different weeks. The focus of those has been really just to get that key information out, but also to really communicate the mail elections. The topic for this week is going to be the financial piece, because we've had lots of questions about the financial piece, so we're really going to try to drive that home and explain that in this week's email series. We've done one direct mail piece that hit the week of March 13th. We have a second one that will hit this week. In fact, I think it dropped at the post office today. When we do a direct mail piece, there's about 26,000 of those that we mail to residents in our district. We've been doing lots of staff presentations. In fact, I think I counted that we did 8 of them today. We have 19 staff presentations completed. We still have several this week and a few early next week as well. Our community presentations have been challenging. In fact, we debated about should we do community presentations or just do the 2 large meetings. In most of our community presentations, we've tried different avenues of communicating those, making sure people are aware of them. We're just not getting the turnout that we would like to see. In fact, it's at a couple of them we haven't had any one that's shown up for those events. The presentation at the high school was fairly decent attended. We had 27 people in person. We also Facebook Live that. We didn't communicate it as a Facebook Live because we wanted people to come in person. But we did Facebook Live it at the last minute, and we had 56 live viewers at the peak. And then those live on Facebook, so our reach of that has been over 1,100 individuals. We will do that same thing with the presentation at Papillion La Vista South this week. We've done several civic presentations. Civic presentations are very much worth it. I know Dr. Rickley had a decent-sized group at the Lions Club. We've done the Optimist Club. We did a Rotary Club, so we're still hitting, and if you guys know of any that we haven't hit, please pass those along to us. We did target our senior centers, and that was a strategy we also did in the 2018 bond issue to make sure that we're getting that information out to our retired community as well. We've done 3 of those, and I think we've got 3 or 4 more of those scheduled yet here coming up. The Discovery Tour, the first one we canceled because we only had 2 people that signed up for it. I do think we have close to 10 for the April 21st one, so we're excited to actually do that. That's really an opportunity for people to get inside the schools and see for themselves what those projects include and what they actually look like inside the buildings. We're continuing to work with our advisory groups. We've got 2 of those completed. We've got a couple more. I think we've got one this week coming up, so we've got a couple more of those. The Superintendent's Coffee, again, that's another strategy where we're targeting our retired community. We completed one of those. We just sent the invitations out for the second one. I think we sent about 200 invitations. I'm hoping we get at least a handful of people that attend that as well. Social media, we're doing daily posts on social media, so each day of the week we have a different focus topic. For example, on Mondays, we always post the upcoming presentations for the week and how can people get information, but we do a different topic. On Sundays, we generally post a video because Sundays are a high activity day on Facebook, so we generally post our videos at that time. We have a big Facebook Live presentation scheduled for April 18th. That is really catering to that online presence. I would anticipate that we'll have a decent turnout for the Facebook Live. The Facebook Live just seemed to, I think people like the comfort of their own home. They can still get the same information. They can still ask their questions, but they don't have to leave and go out and worry about babysitters or dinner or any of those sorts of things. So I think Facebook Live is actually probably one of our best strategies to reach a broader community in a semi-face-to-face environment. Web page, we're continuing to add to the web page. I know we got several questions over the weekend for our questions and answers section of the web page, so we'll work on getting that updated. So we're keeping, anytime new questions come in or surface at some of our meetings, we update those on our web page as well. We're also trying to add questions that are coming in from the Facebook group and put those on the web page as well. And then, of course, the video storytelling. Chantel has done an amazing job with the videos. We have short videos that are just about each of the projects. We've got big in-depth videos that are being done by our Bond Squad students. They're just really good videos, and we're trying a lot of different strategies to try to enhance the number of viewers that we're having on each of those videos. We're tracking, you know, how we send it out and then how many hits we have on the different ways that we're sending it out to really try to figure out what's working best with our community as far as getting those videos circulated. And I did think it would be nice to just share one of them in case you haven't seen it. This is just a short one.
I'm Natalie Clemenger here at Parkview Heights Elementary School. Parkview Heights is one of the schools in the district that is on the Facility Needs Project list. Because it's one of the older schools in the district, that means that it's time for some new updates. Today we're going to take a look at some Parkview Heights classrooms to talk about classroom size and take a look at how larger classrooms are better equipped to accommodate learning. An older classroom is typically built around 600 square feet. Today, a standard size classroom is typically built around 800 square feet. The size of a classroom really benefits a teacher in how they set up their classroom, how they teach, and how they pull small groups. Let's take a look at a larger classroom. This is a much bigger classroom. With this kind of space, teachers can set up their room in a variety of ways, and they can do what meets their needs for students to work together. With the bigger classroom sizes, teachers have room to bring students back and do small group work with them. As we saw in Parkview Heights, since the classrooms are so small, they had to store things in the hallway. With the bigger classrooms, teachers can store stuff in cabinets or whatever meets their needs. Expanding older classrooms helps teachers and students learn every day. Parkview Heights is one of 3 remaining schools in the district that need older classrooms expanded to meet today's standards of greatness. The other 2 are Terra Heights and Trumbull Park. Check out www.plcsschools.org/bond issue to see the full project list. Signing off, I'm Natalie Clemenger with the Bond Squad.
So we're trying really hard with the videos to just focus on specific projects and different ones. Our students are amazing, aren't they? They're so cute in the way they do that. I do think it's important to note that the kids in our Bond Squad auditioned for the Bond Squad. They tried out, they were selected to participate in that, and the parents are bringing them to all of these videos as well. So we really appreciate the extra effort all of these extra videos have taken from our students and our families. Voting procedures, I just wanted to share that because I think it's really important. The mail election is definitely a challenge. It's a challenge in the communication. It's something new that we have to communicate. And we're getting a lot of questions, even at the staff presentations, it comes up. People don't understand because we haven't done mail elections in Sarpy County. So a week from today is a big day. I think I counted today we have 29 days until this election is over. So a week from today, the ballots drop from the election office. They're mailed directly to homes. They're mailed to everyone that is a registered voter. So if you have 2, 3, 4, 5 registered voters in your house, you'll get a ballot for each one of them. The deadline to register to vote is April 21st. So if you still register to vote and those ballots have already been mailed, you'll continue to get them, and they'll send those out all the way up through the 28th, which is the deadline to vote in person. So anybody that registers to vote on the 28th, they'll get their ballot, will be dropped in the mail by the 29th, and then they'll still have the opportunity to vote as well. All the ballots have to be returned to the election office by 5 p.m. On May 9th to be counted. And that's really important, and that's one of the communication things that we're challenges that we're trying to share with our public, because they can't put a postmark and drop that ballot in the mail on May 9th. It has to be physically in the election office by 5 o'clock on May 9th. There are, you can mail those ballots back. It is one stamp that goes on it, which is 63 cents. I didn't realize that stamps were that much. 63 cents, so that's one stamp that goes on the ballot. You can mail those back as long as you're certain that they will be there before May 9th at 5 o'clock. Or there are a couple of drop locations as well. There's a drop box at the Sarpy County Election Commission. There's actually 2 at the Sarpy County election, one that's a walk-up and one that's actually a drive-through that you can just drive through and drop your boxes off there, or ballots off. There's one at the Sarpy County Courthouse where you can drop your ballots off, and there's one at the La Vista Police Department. So people can either mail them or drop them off at any of those drop box locations. That is all I have. Any questions?
Ms. Hyman, and I think this is more just for clarification for anybody new that's watching, either at home or in the audience. Can you give the difference between what the district is allowed to do regarding providing information versus the independent campaign, so that people are clear on what that is?
Yeah, our job as a school district is to provide information. And legally, that's all we can do, is provide information. In fact, as we've been going out to the staff presentations, we added in slides to make that very clear, because our staff was concerned. They wanted to make sure they were following the rules. What can they do? What can't they do? So time and resources, on the job responsibilities of any staff member and the school district as a whole, it's to provide information only. The Vote Yes campaign, and they were here at the last board meeting, that's a totally separate campaign. That's community members that have come together and said, we're going to do what we need to do to help this bond issue get passed. They raise private funds for that proposal. They're an identified political action committee, and they are the ones that are putting out the yard signs and doing the things that are Vote Yes. That's completely separate from anything we as a school district are doing.
First, I think that Natalie did such a great job. Probably took a lot less takes than any of the videos you ever ask us to be in, because we are not that good at them. To the discovery tours, I think I agree. It'd be great to have more people sign up and get into our schools and really see them. So who can sign up for them, and how do they sign up for them?
Anyone can sign up. We'll take an email at the communications@plcschools.org. You can email us. You can call here. We ask that it's residents of the school district, or parents of the school district, because we have parents that are not necessarily residents. So, but anyone can sign up through an email. You could contact your individual school, and they can get a message to us. We've been putting it out on social media. You could sign up through social media. The information's there in a link on social media as well. So we're trying to get that out as much as possible. It's a bus tour. We'll hit, in the last one with the bond issue, we hit 4 schools. We'll probably hit 4 schools. Last time we went to both high schools so they could see the difference with the high school projects. I haven't finalized which schools we're going to yet exactly. But it's a great opportunity to really get inside those buildings and see what's going on.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The next item under discussion and information items is item B, review of policy 4000 personnel. Dr. Sells?
Yep, the 4000 series personnel is up for annual review. Based on the review of the policy, if there are recommended changes, we would hold discussion at the upcoming board meeting, April 24th, and then any changes to be acted on at the May 8th, 2023 meeting.
Great, thank you very much. Under Section 5, future board calendar, April 11th, you already mentioned this, tomorrow night, the Title I event, 6 o'clock at Monarchs. And April 24th is our next Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m., excuse me, at the central office, here at the central office. Before I adjourn, I just want to remind all of us sitting at this table that we have a lot of different opinions. It's been contentious. We need to make sure that we remember that we all need to be professionals. That's what we're supposed to be up here, so we need to remember that, okay? I appreciate Dr. Rickley reining us back in with that discussion. We need to make sure that we understand. I'm all up for the debate, but we need to make sure we understand we are all professionals all on this board. We were all elected members, all right? Okay, thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned at 7:17 p.m.